Hello and thank you for joining us on this Tuesday afternoon. I'm Jurnee Taylor and here's a look at some of the top stories we're following today. First, the devastation from Japan's deadly earthquake continues as a plane carrying relief items collides with a passenger plane at a Japan airport. Plus, a local foundation hosts its annual prayer vigil to bring awareness, asking for peace and no more violence in the state for 2024. And now that the new year is in full swing, new state laws are in effect as well. In 8 minutes, we'll have more on what changes to expect. But first, we have a look at weather on the second day of this new year. Meteorologist Simone Thomas is here. What are you tracking today?
It's a cold day out there, Jurnee. That's the best and quickest way to put it. I'm personally not a fan. Some of you might be fans of the cold weather, but let's take a step back to see just how cold it was this morning as many of us headed to work for the first time in the new year. We got down to 26 here in the capital city. Pine Bluff saw a low of 25. Hot Springs even colder at 24, but it still gets colder than that. Conway got all the way down to 21. Searcy and Clinton got down to the teens. Now, even at this point in the day, a lot of places still in the 30s to 40s. 38 is the current in Searcy, 38 also the current in Hot Springs. Pine Bluff and Little Rock just barely in the 40s right now. As we continue through the afternoon, we're going to see an increase in cloud cover. Temperatures really only looking to make it to the middle 40s today. I'll have a check-in of the week ahead and a next chance of rain we're tracking later on in the show, so make sure you stick around.
All right, Simone, thank you. New at noon, at least 5 people are dead in Japan after a collision involving a Coast Guard aircraft and a passenger plane at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. The Coast Guard aircraft was carrying relief supplies to quake victims following the powerful 7.6 magnitude earthquake that hit yesterday. Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
A Japan Airlines A350 burst into flames at Tokyo's Haneda Airport on Monday. The plane had just arrived from northern Japan with 379 passengers and crew on board when it collided with a Japanese Coast Guard aircraft. Video from inside the cabin shows smoke inside. Moments before evacuation chutes deployed and all of the people on board the plane were able to escape to safety. But 5 members of the Japanese Coast Guard crew who were on their way to provide earthquake relief to people on Japan's northwest coast were killed. A Weather Service camera recorded the start of the magnitude 7.6 quake that destroyed homes, shook railway stations, and even rattled stones at this ancient shrine Monday. American Daniel Smith was there.
It just started very slowly. And everybody kind of left it off. You know, they thought, this is kind of humorous, on New Year's Day. And then it was just a violent shaking. I mean, violent shaking.
With the threat of a tsunami now over, Japan's nuclear authority said its reactors are all fine. But large areas of the Noto Peninsula have been devastated, and mudslides and damaged roads are complicating efforts to find people who may still be trapped under the rubble. Officials are now warning residents to stay away from their homes, with more quakes still possible over the next few days. Natalie Brand, CBS News.
In a CHV 11 update, a man wanted by U.S. Marshals is dead after leaving police on a high-speed chase from Benton to Little Rock. This all happened yesterday afternoon, and here's what we know. Troopers say they ended the chase using a pit maneuver. After the crash, ASP says the driver shot at police, at which point officers shot back and killed him. Police aren't identifying the man just yet, only describing him as a 35-year-old male from Hot Springs. And no police were injured there, but state police are reporting that Benton police started the pursuit after they say they spotted fake tags on the driver's car. And another update, we're learning more about a deadly crash after a police chase in Hot Spring County. It happened last Friday on Highway 270 north of Malvern, ending in Rockport. State police report the driver, 25-year-old Christopher Babb of Hot Springs, fled from Malvern police in a Dodge Charger. They say he lost control and hit a guardrail as he was approaching a I-30 overpass, causing the vehicle to flip multiple times. Police say Babb was killed after being thrown out of the car. Each year on January 1st, a Little Rock nonprofit hosts a prayer vigil and a balloon release to raise awareness over violence around the state. A cross is planted in the ground on the corner of Daisy Bates and Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. Each cross represents a life that was taken by acts of violence in 2023. Now this year, the Robert St. McIntosh Foundation is pleading for change and hoping this 60-year tradition of giving closure for loved ones will also appeal to others.
We think that when people look and see so many at such a small time frame, maybe they will come and ask questions and try to see what they can do to get involved to help stop so much senseless killings.
Now, if you would like to volunteer with the St. McIntosh organization to help stop the violence, you can visit our website at thv11.com. U.S. Border Patrol agents are managing a record increase of migrants arriving at the southern border, processing around 250,000 new arrivals each month since August. In December, hitting an all-time high of 300,000 migrants, which included a record number of families traveling with children. Now this weekend, Texas Governor Greg Abbott arranged for 350 asylum seekers to be flown to Illinois. After landing in Rockford, they boarded buses to Chicago, and Chicago's Mayor Brandon Johnson says city officials were given no notice.
What we have is clearly an international and federal crisis that local governments are being asked to subsidize, and this is unsustainable.
House Speaker Mike Johnson is expected to visit the border this week and will hold a press conference tomorrow in Eagle Pass. After a year of explosive growth in the use of artificial intelligence, security experts warn the United States is facing increasing hacking threats from criminals and foreign governments in 2024, a crucial year, election year that is. Sean Henry, a former FBI executive assistant director and now security chief at CrowdStrike, said that AI has been able to overcome some online security systems, gaining access into corporate networks. It's also being used to spread misinformation through the creation of videos, audio, and text files that seem believable.
People always have to look at the source of information. You can't just look at something and accept it as true. You've got to verify where it came from. Who's telling the story? What is their motivation? And can you verify it through multiple sources?
Now, on a positive note, he adds that he does not think AI is a major threat to voting machines, mostly because the U.S. election system is not centralized and it has wide variation state to state on the way people vote. A handful of new laws are now in effect in Arkansas, and Rachel Williams with our sister station in Northwest Arkansas has more on new laws affecting taxes, housing, and labor.
Last April, Governor Sanders signed into law a measure to cut individual and corporate income taxes in Arkansas by $124 million a year. Since there wasn't an emergency clause on the bill, it's only going into effect now. New rates that take effect for this tax year, so it may affect how much you see withheld from your paychecks throughout this year and how much you owe or get back from the state for your return in early 2025. It cuts the top individual tax rate from 4.9% to 4.7%. Corporate income tax also dropped from 5.3% to 5.1%. Another big change will begin phasing out the state's throwback rule. Arkansas is one of 22 states that tax the profits of businesses from other states for sales in Arkansas. Starting this year, the practice of throwing back those taxes into Arkansas's economy will wind down. Also taking effect today, the Housing Welfare Reform Act. Arkansans who qualify to receive public housing benefits are now required to work, train, or volunteer. Another new law disqualifies anyone receiving unemployment benefits when they fail to respond to a job offer or if they miss a scheduled job interview.
Now, for more on the new laws going into effect this year, you can go to our website, thv11.com. Now, if you're ready to give up your live Christmas tree, why not help out the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission? It's offering free drop-off sites at more than 40 locations across the state. The full list is on the Game and Fish website. The commission uses the trees for nursery habitats for small fish in Arkansas lakes. But keep in mind, though, this is only for live trees. Now, if you're keeping the Christmas spirit alive, the drop-offs will be available until the end of the month. 2023 was another busy and pricey year in travel. Coming up, we take a look at what's in store for people who plan on traveling this year. Simone?
And if you're headed out on that lunch break, you probably want to bundle up. We've got cold conditions throughout the day, and we're checking the next chance of rain. All of that after this break.